Woke up in bed at the corner of Lex with a dream of how it used to be. Remembering the time of the Exodus and how the Jews were set free. Jumped in the cab, throwing a Seder for the first time. Look to the right and I see the Manischewitz sign. I'm hosting my first Seder, so please don't be a hater. My tummy's turning, hope my Seder is amazing. So much pressure that I'm schwitzing. That's when the matzah man turned on the radio. The Dayenu song was on. And the Dayenu song was on. And the Dayenu song was on. So I put my yarmulke on, they're playing my song, and the butterflies fly away. Cleaning it up like yeah, grinding it up like yeah. Fill the wine up in Elijah's cup, I know it's gonna be okay. Yeah.
To his people. So, if we die today, we will be in heaven, but guess what? Jesus is going to bring us back to earth and give us the land. So, don't expect that you sit down here, you're saved by the blood of Yeshua, you're going to heaven. Yeah, you will. Come if you go before your time, but you will come back here because Yeshua will bring you back. That's that. So, get this in your mindset that we're coming back and we're going to rule and reign with our bridegroom, and we will be the bride. Praise the Lord. But because the Lord is revealing to us from His Word, and we've been it's not a new covenant for the Gentiles. The new covenant is this, the I wills. See, the days are coming, declares Yahweh, that I shall make a new covenant in the house of Israel, the house of Yehuda. By the way, those are the two divided kingdom, Yehuda, which is the south, Judas, which is in Jerusalem, and then Israel, which is in the north, divided kingdom. Yehuda was the one who was taken captive to Babylon, but after Babylon, he came back. Israel, we don't know where he went, but the Assyrian Empire came, and Israel was also taken, so they disappeared. But remember, Israel is where the north, that is where Ephraim resides, and Ephraim is the blessing from Jacob, that Jacob blessed Ephraim, that he will be as numerous as in multitudes, as in spawning, as in it's going to be as many. So, and Jesus also mentioned that he came to seek that which was lost. He came to the lost tribe of Israel. But anyway, he's making this covenant, Israel and the house of Judah, not like the covenant I made with the fathers the day when I took them in the land to bring them the land of Mitzyarim. My covenant, which they broke, though I was a husband to them, declares Yahweh, for this is the covenant shall make the house of Israel. He's making a covenant with Israel. What happened to Yehuda? Let's be aware of that. After those days, declares Yahweh, I shall put my teaching, my law, my Torah, in their inward parts and write it on their hearts, and I shall be their Elohim, their God, and they shall be my people, and no longer shall they teach each one his neighbor and each one his brother, knowing Yahweh. For they shall all know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them, declares Yahweh, for I shall forgive their crookedness and remember their sins no more. This is the renewed covenant of the Lord, the new covenant that He gives. Not a new covenant to the Gentiles. It's a new covenant to Israel. But somehow we think that the new covenant is for the Gentiles. But let's think again. We're just engrafted branches. The gospel was extended to us because of the hard-headedness of the Jews. We should be appreciated that the Jews were so hard-headed that they disobeyed Yahweh, that we are included in God's kingdom. And we should not in any way exclude them from our journey as a Gentile in the Lord. So what has this got to do with the coming of Yeshua? As in the days when you came out of the land of Mitzrayim, Micah speaks about this. You see, what we're reading in the Torah portion, this will also happen because as in the days when you came out of the land of Mitzrayim, I shall let him see wonders. At the last days, Yeshua will show wonders to the world, just like in the days of Egypt. So you see, it's going to repeat itself. So you want to know how it's going to play in the last days? Learn your Torah. Because exactly as it happens in the land of Mitzrayim, so will our deliverance in the last days when Yeshua will come. The great wonders that he will show, it will happen again. Listen is really, well, Moses spoke this children of Israel, but they did not listen to Moshe. But listen is really a word that speaks about hearing and obeying. They heard, but they did not obey. So listen is the word, the rooted word is that they heard, but they did not obey. Or they did not listen to Moshe because of the hard-headedness. So these are just some Hebrew words that I began to explain. Do you know this particular phenomenon called attached to the captor? This is exactly what happened to Israel in Egypt. The dyslectic Hebrew version of chapter 6, verse 9 speaks about, and Moses spoke this word to the children of Israel that they did not hear and obey Moshe because they were impatient of spirit and stiff-necked in their service. They were so assimilated with the Egyptians in the state that they were in. Now, let it also speak to us as what happened to Egypt. They would not listen to Moses, what it would be speaking to us today. Are we hearing the same thing? Are we being captive and we are so assimilated in our being captives that we don't want to leave this place? We get our income here. We get our beautiful house, a beautiful car. We get our dreams become real in this place. But Yahweh has a redemption plan for us. And are we hearing something that we need to get out of this place, but we're saying we will not hear and obey? So you see, are we seeing the same thing again today? So this is something that what it is being posed to us, because as in the days of the Mitzrayim, so will be the days of Yeshua come with great wonders. You see, we're being delivered. But we refuse to go. We refuse to take this red pill and move along, and we want to stay behind. So we will somehow have this syndrome with us. Anyway, this is the names of the Levites, but let me just go quickly. These are the Levites. He had 3 sons, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. This is the lineage. He goes through Kohath, who begat Amram, Ishkar, Hebron, and Ezekiel. Anyway, their names have meanings. I don't have time to explain that. But he went to Amram, the priesthood, and then he had 3 children, Aaron, Miriam, and Moses. But the priesthood now came to Aaron. So this is the line of the Levites. And God has assigned Aaron as the priest. Remember, they were choosing who the priesthood would be. And it was the rod of Aaron that budded. So he has the line of the priesthood. And then it went through Eleazar and Phinehas. Okay, so that's the Aaronic priesthood. There are wonderful meanings of names, but in lack of time, let's just move along. Uncircumcised mouth is something also, a theme in the Bible that goes along. When Moses says that I am of uncircumcised lips, he meant that, it's something that they already use. And they are so familiar with this because it means like the one who stammers as with a foreskin over his lips, or the one also who has a foreskin on his ears and cannot receive divine instructions. And that's also the same phrase. And we see that phrase in Matthew when Jesus spoke about and calling the crowd near, he said to them, hear and understand, not that which goes in the mouth defiles the man, but that which comes out of the mouth that defiles the man. So the circumcision of the heart breaks the circumcision of the lips. So it's more important that we have the circumcision of the heart and remove that so that we can receive, so that what comes out of the mouth. I always thought that, I can eat anything with this because whatever goes into your mouth is not important. Only what comes out. So all kinds of germs, all kinds of dirt. No, this was a theme going along in the Bible, that when the Hebrew people heard this, they understood about Moses having an uncircumcised lip, that he didn't want to go, and he first had to be circumcised. Anyway, making the short story long, Remember, Moses, God was so angry with him, right? And he wanted to kill Moses. By the way, Moses was writing about himself because that was in Moses' book. And it was Zipporah, the wife, who had to circumcise the son of Moses and dip the blood over in Moses' legs, right? And that accounted for a peace offering to the Lord. So you see the themes that goes along and move on and on and on. Wow, amazing. Speaking of Aaron's rod, remember last time I talked to you about that when God created the world, it was threatened by water, it was saved by an ark, right? Then it was threatened again because they were in Egypt, and it was threatened by the river Nile because all the male babies were thrown into the Nile, and it was saved by a basket, and Moses was in the basket. And the basket is an atonement for the sin, it's the covering of the sin. So where do you think this is going to repeat itself again? We know that we are in the Mitzrayim, the world system is here, we're threatened by the waters, and I believe the waters is the waters of the world system. What would that be? I believe that, our whole world is tied up to what we call the liquidity of the financial system, that we are liquid all over the place. When some place we get disrupted. So this threatening again, how are we going to be saved? We're going to be saved by the ark once more. What's in the ark? The Ark of the Covenant. What's in the Ark of the Covenant? The handwriting of God, the Ten Commandments, the Torah. What else is there? Manna, the provision of the Lord, that He will carry us through with His provision. Guess what else is there? The rod of Aaron. That budded, the high priest, that we are a royal priesthood. And not only that, it swallowed the snakes of Pharaoh. The gods of the world will be swallowed up with the staff of Aaron. And that's what is going to save us through. So you see this theme, it keeps recurring. And we see the picture of the future, we begin to understand. So we know that the scripture speaks about Moses as God to Pharaoh. Well, this is again another setup of the Lord. See, I made you an Elohim to Pharaoh, and Aaron, your brother, is your prophet. Each person has his own place in God's kingdom. In our story, Pharaoh is the lowest. Well, first he has to listen to Aaron, and Aaron has to listen to Moses, and Moses has to listen to the Lord. So there is an order of the system that God now becomes Elohim of Pharaoh. And it would take 10 plagues to convince the Pharaoh to send the Hebrews out of Egypt. Because Egypt is a polytheistic society. There are so many gods in Egypt. There's so many gods in Mitzrayim. Like there's so many gods in our world system today. We worship so many things.
Woke up in bed at the corner of Lex with a dream of how it used to be. Remembering the time of the Exodus and how the Jews were set free. Jumped in the cab, throwing a Seder for the first time. Look to the right and I see the Manischewitz sign. I'm hosting my first Seder, so please don't be a hater. My tummy's turning, hope my Seder is amazing. So much pressure that I'm schwitzing. That's when the matzah man turned on the radio. The Dayenu song was on. And the Dayenu song was on. And the Dayenu song was on. So I put my yarmulke on, they're playing my song, and the butterflies fly away. Cleaning it up like yeah, grinding it up like yeah. Fill the wine up in Elijah's cup, I know it's gonna be okay.